Hey, welcome to our talk show this evening. Thanks for joining us. And we're happy to tell you today that we have two guests, unlike the usual when we have only one guest. So our guest today is Fuzile Mvubu, who is a 4IR Archon. And we also have Shaylin Naika, who's a publishing and education specialist. So they're going to introduce themselves for a little bit before we take them on the expertise. So we start with Fuzile Mvubu. Fuzile, you are 4IR Archon. What is that? You can unmute yourself there.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to be able to present this innovative idea that I have, especially for our Black or impoverished communities. To briefly explain what 4IR means, it's the fourth industrial revolution. So I don't know how many of us know about it, but a lot of things are migrating to the digital space, if I can put it that way. A lot of things post-corona and lockdown, we were work from home instead of our ordinary offices. And because we were forced to do that, we had to familiarize ourselves with technology. So that's basically what the fourth industrial revolution is about. It's about shifting towards the digital world. And so why I call myself a 4IR Archon, it's derived from Greek. So we know that especially with our language and education, maths, everything has a bit of a background where it was developed by the Greeks. And so we've just adapted it and changed it and, customized it according to our own benefits. So Archon is actually a Latin word for director, if I can put it that way. So I am labeled myself as the 4IR as the 4IR director because I don't think anyone is claiming that. So I just said to myself, well, why not be the one that sort of especially pushes people from our background, because I know that for the most part we are familiar with technology, but we are not as tech savvy as most of the first world countries like your China and America and so forth. So I am the instigator or the innovator.
That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful of explanation there for 4IR. I'll make sure that it's copyrighted for you. All right, Shaylin, you are publishing and education specialist. Can you explain a little bit what you do there? What does it mean?
So, hi everybody. So basically, I've been working in the publishing industry since 2012. So I have just about 10 years experience in the industry. I kind of stumbled into it. I've worked for Maskew Miller Longman, who were then, and I've worked for Pearson Education South Africa. Both of those companies were bought by Pearson International. They're responsible for publishing a lot of the textbooks that I'm sure you're familiar with. The X-Kit Achieve, the Platinum series today, Afrikaans sonder grense. So so that company that I've been working with for the last decade and working for, they're responsible for producing the content that a lot of South African learners use in their classrooms, from the primary school level all the way into university. So that's where my experience comes in. I've worked in various roles as an editor, as a typesetter, as well as in the production phase. So I've gotten to experience the publication and education industry from multiple roles. And now, what's relevant to this conversation is how the publishing industry has been providing resources for learners to use to learn from home. Also, being myself a Gen Zer or a millennial, I always get the two confused. I've been in the education industry as both a producer of content as well as a consumer of content. So, what I try to do is give my perspective as someone who's actually been using the materials. I'm actually using a lot of these modern methods to educate myself. I've used it to get my degree, as well as I've used it to upskill in the workplace to stay relevant and competitive as an employee. And I've also used it while studying my degree, I was also a tutor. So I've helped produce the materials. I've helped teach using those materials, and I've been on the receiving end as a student.
All right, that's nice. Thank you so much for those introductions. So now I see we have people coming in already, joining us, and we thank you for that. And we also have, let's see, on YouTube, we have 2 views already. I think we can start with your presentation. Fuzile, we're going to switch off our microphones and cameras so that we can give you the spotlight. Explain to us what the GED benefits every one of us today, and everyone who's connected here, parents, how they can incorporate it in their decision making in terms of their children, and those already that are almost in matric level, what can they do to benefit from it? So over to you, Fuzili.
Okay, thank you so much, Neo. Also, welcome to those that just joined us. We're really happy to have you here. And Neo has already told me that I give a mouthful, so I'm going to try and put it as simple and as short and make it as brief as I can. So, I was helping one of the learners. She was doing her matric, and during the time she was studying, I was helping her with her maths and science. So then I stumbled across this GED, which is a Graduate Equivalency Degree, and so I explored further what it means and how can it help the learner that I was assisting. And so upon further research, I realized that it's actually a very effective way of learning because all the content is done digitally. It's already created for you. And the learner, if I can put it that way. And because the content is already created and it's also accredited or acknowledged by the international standard as a matric diploma. So when I researched and I found that out, and then I looked to see how can we bring it home? How can we make it available for learners? And then we experimented, if I can put it that way. And this was in 2020, before lockdown. So an idea that started as a tutoring idea to help a learner, it gave birth to an opportunity for the learner to be able to, for other parents to join in. So I ended up having like 10 kids that I was introducing into the GED program. And then when we researched again, we found that, okay, so we are only allowed to take the GED when you are 17 years and above. So then that made it very difficult for the other kids to keep pursuing this program, because some of them were as young as 13 years. So then they just fizzled out and were incorporated back into secular school. And then the ones that are 16, 17 years, then they continued with the program. So what is GED? GED is an international matric. Let me put it that way. Simply put, it's an international matric. And in order to obtain this an international matric, the learner has to go through a year program, which is they are learning online digital content that is provided by MyGED, which is the authorized and accredited GED provider. So you basically create an online login with them, and they charge you 2,900 Rand for access to the program. And then when you get access to the program, you are able to get 4 subjects that you will be doing. So as part of the presentation, I don't know if I'm able to share screen, because I'd like to also assist with visual aid while presenting this program. I'm not sure if now I'm
Yeah,
able to
you
share.
you should be able to share there. There's
Oh,
next to your mic there. There's a
oh,
screen.
share and the share screen. Share this event. Oh,
It should say share screen.
okay. Oh, there we go. Found it. See, I'm not technologically challenged. So yes, so then I then was able to tap into that, and then what happened was I got access to the GED. So I am currently trying to share my screen. I don't know if you guys can see.
You can see it.
Okay.
You see your password then.
No, it's not going to, I'm not going to show you. But in fact, because I want people to they can even use this, my password. I don't have a problem, so that they can just get access to it as well, and just learn or familiarize yourself as a parent, as the learner. I would love for people to be interested in this program, because it not only is something that I have knowledge of, it's knowledge that's freely available. So they basically explain what GED is, and how you can take it, and you schedule tests, and how much it costs. So it's all in this myged.com. So if the learners are interested to find out more, they can just visit this page, myged.com, and then further in the interview, I will explain what role we play in order to be able to provide support for the learner doing these 4 subjects. But as you can see with my shared screen, we've got language arts, and I'm hovering over social studies, science, and maths. So it's just only 4 subjects that you take, and the GED grad week. Oh, sorry. So they're just telling us about the 50% that you get if you get if you want to do practice tests. But I'll just click on the language arts, for instance, to just give you a rundown. And then when I click here, it shows that this language arts, about the test, the test lasts 150 minutes. And in the 150 minutes, you cover 3 parts. So if I click on the 3 parts that will be covered, it will tell you part 1 and 3 are made up of multiple choice, drag and drop, fill in the blank, hotspot, and drop down questions. Part 2 is a written essay. You will have 45 minutes to complete it. you will get 10 minutes break between parts 2 and 3. They don't give you a break here, from what I know here locally in South Africa. But maybe in America, they allow the students to take 10 minutes breaks. And then within the 150 minutes, the 3 topics that will be covered will be reading for meaning, identifying and creating arguments, grammar and language. And then they will tell you, this is how much it costs to get the test. So English will be $80 in order for the parent to get a sitting at Boston College, and then they will then schedule the exam for you. You pay the $80, which is currency conversion works up to almost like 1,300 somewhere there. And then you do the test. If the child passes, then they are done with English, and then they can do the next exam, which is maths, science, and social studies. Now, why this is, I said, it's the most simplest and convenient way to learn, because when you apply for the program, it's so simple. Let me just also show you a typical example of what I'm. The skills. If you click on the and then go and do the exam. So here they say understanding main ideas and details. You'll be presented with a reading passage and asked to determine the relationship between ideas, analyze how details develop the idea. So then they've got a story here that was written by L.M. Montgomery. You read through the story, and then right at the bottom, you've got questions. Read this sentence from the excerpt. What role does this sentence play in the passage? Something like, they give you an example, something like a reluctant smile, rather rusty from long disuse, mellowed Marilla's grim reaction. So they're just giving you an example of what the question is about. So then you choose between the 4, which one is the most likely answer. So I see here they've already highlighted for us D. So it shows that Marilla's attitude toward N is starting to change. You click on D. If you think the answer is C, you click on C, and it'll go to C, and then you press next, and then you move on. Then what this system does is that it keeps track of when you're studying or when you're doing these practice tests. Say you answered C, but the answer was D. And then it will tell you, no, you got that part wrong, but then you move on to the next question. And then you are able to go back and rectify your error. And then I think that is the most impactful way of learning, because in order to learn, we have to make mistakes. We have to not understand things, and then that's how you learn. But then you rectify those mistakes, you go back, and then it engraves into your brain. It's just a simple concept of, what do they say? Repetition for emphasis, or we learn through our mistakes, and so forth and so forth. So rather than having a teacher standing in front there and going through the material, and when the child doesn't understand what's going on, they say, no, let's move on to the next one. And then we move on to the next, but the child is left behind. And then it sort of, discourages the learner. It doesn't make them want to, learn. They get disengaged, disinterested, and so forth. So this way of learning, the system is monitoring the child's activity, and whatever questions you got wrong, you are able to go back and rectify. And what that does, it stamps that information into your brain. And when you are met with the similar question in an exam, your brain quickly remembers that information, and it takes, and the child passes. So basically, that's what GED is. It's the most simplest way of doing matric, because you only do 4 subjects, that being maths, English, social studies, and which one I left out? Science or English? Yes, so maths, English, social studies, and science. So you do the 4, And when you get the four subjects, then they put them together and then they calculate the credits or the points that you've acquired when you were taking the exam. Now, what do I mean by them putting together the points or the credits? So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with why do high schools come to the conclusion that a person passed their matric with a diploma, with a bachelor's, with honors, and so forth.
Sorry. We're seeing your emails there.
Oh, sorry. Let me just stop sharing. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm just quickly going to the link where they speak more about the point system, but I can just give you a rundown because cannot find it at the moment. But basically, the point system works this way. According to the international standard, if you pass with 80%, 90%, and so forth, you are assigned 7 points. If you pass 60% to 70, you are assigned 6 points. If you assign 50 to 60, you assign 5 points, and so it goes down. So that's why you'll hear that the child passed with 3 distinctions. Maybe they've got 80% in English, 80% or 90% in math, 90% in another study, and then they pass with 3 distinctions, and those are high credited subjects. And so that child is prepared to be able to enter into university. But then another child passes their matric, but then they just pass higher grade. But now they don't pass with, distinctions. And then that child, because they took higher grade, so it means they took subjects that were high credited or they were assigned more points, then they are able to get into university that way. But then you find other kids that just pass with your national senior certificate, which is, I've got my matric and I've got 40%, but at least I passed. And then those ones, they don't get into university, unfortunately. Then you are either apply to TVET colleges and so forth and so forth. So the point system works like that. The more marks you get per subject, and especially for high credited subjects, as I said, like maths is regarded as part of the high credited, science is regarded as a high credited subject, and also English forms part of the high credited subject. One of the languages is they are regarded as high credited subjects. So then they give you seven credits, for instance, and then those 7 credits, when you've got the 4, and then maybe the other 3 subjects you got 30, 40%, they put them together and they sum it up. And if you make more than 25 credits according to South Africa, then you've got a bachelor's pass. But if you've managed to get 19 points, then you are assigned a diploma pass. Now with GED, what is nice about it is that since it's just 4 subjects, they say the child cannot pass below an average mark of 145 over 200. Now, if you do the math, 145 over 200 would give you 60 to 65%. So that is still like 60, 65% pass mark. Now, according to what the points that the Department of Education assigns people that pass with 60 to 65 or 69%, you are given 5 points or 5 credit points. Now, if you get 4 of those, so you got 5, 10, 15, 20 with the GED program, that means you got 20 points. And in South Africa, to get a diploma for your matric, you only need 19 points. So then that's why they call it the Graduate Equivalency Diploma, because it sets the child up just right. You cannot you fail if you get less than 145%. So the child works towards getting 145% and above. So if they get 145%, they are assigned 5 points, and those 5 points, after you do all your four subjects, they give you 20 credit points, and voila, you've got your diploma. And so we did that exercise, and we've got a learner that went through the GED program, and she passed. She passed very well. She was averaging 160 something, and she got a distinction as well. And then, yes, she was then plugged into within code, because she just realized that she loves computers. After doing the GED program online, she realized, oh, I think I'm a computers person. So then she explored that further, and she applied with within code. They took her for boot camp, and she passed, and she's currently studying with them and receiving a stipend as well. So yeah, we've set her up very, very nicely in that spectrum. So that's why now I wanted to introduce it to the broader public, because we see that learners are struggling with our current education system. And I think Shailen, my colleague, will elaborate further on the things that we've seen, especially if you've got with the impoverished background. If your circumstances are not right, then you're not privy to such information. And then also it's a costly exercise, but then you end up not wanting to explore it. So Shailen will touch more on that the learners are struggling, but not only the learners, the parents are also struggling, because the child has to learn these 7 subjects that they are currently doing, 7 under caps. And then in the 7 subjects, we've realized that, especially for maths, they teach you calculus if you want to take pure maths, because pure maths is the high credited one. So if you want to take pure maths, and then you meet with calculus, and you meet it in matric. Now, calculus is, I'm sure not many of you are even familiar with how it works, what it means. I did more research, and I realized that calculus should have a course on its own. There should be like a whole year a child spends just studying calculus, apart from just doing your normal maths, you're solving for x's, your geometry and whatnot. Just calculus on its own, because that is maths in motion. So maths is stationary. It's 1 + 1 is equal to 2. But with calculus, they're saying if 1 was to push 1, what would you get? Then you're not going to get 2, because 1 is now moving and it's pushing this other one. So now you must understand the formula and all that. So basically, it needs a whole year for you to just focus on calculus. And then when you understand calculus, then you can then understand how it plugs in to stationary maths, where it's just 1 + 1 is equal to 2, solve for x. If x is equal to, then what is my, with your standard maths quiz. Now, with that being said, we've realized that kids are struggling. They are struggling. I mean, the learner came to me, and she wanted me to tutor her with maths. And I was really good with maths in school. I used to get all distinctions and stuff. But then when she came to me and she said, Malums, here's calculus, can you help me? I couldn't. I just said to her, listen, I've been out of school 15 years. I don't know what you guys are doing now. So I will just have to do research. And then I realized that, no, man, it's confusing the learners. And so imagine the child is looking up to you as a parent. Sorry, I just got disconnected there. So the child is looking up to you to know this information. They're coming back with homework, and they're saying, Mom, Dad, can you, assist? And, what do we know about calculus? So the system is maybe designed for us the kids to think of us as, people that are not informed, if I can put it that way. I don't know. But then you can't help your child with their homework because you also don't know what they are doing, and then it frustrates the child. The teacher as well, some of them, I cannot speak for all of them, some of them don't understand what calculus is, so but they're expected to teach it because it's decisions made higher up, and they just say to them, look, here's this new curriculum, try and understand it and push it. And they don't engage with the teachers and ask them, will it work? Would you be able to understand it, and so forth. So there's a whole lot of confusing things in such a way that you find 16, 17-year-olds sitting in grade 10 and feeling very discouraged and feeling like they were failures because they are not making it, they are not bridging or going to the next phase. And it's not because they are the failures. It's just the system is making them fail. They don't understand the system. So with GED, we are removing that problem. We are actually saying there is a convenient way of learning for the child and also for the parent, because with GED, we do have one of the parents also logged in that we assisted one of the kids with, and she will attest. It was easy for her to understand it. I mean, she would call me and tell me some of the things that are happening within the GED spectrum, because information is available. It's online. There's nothing I can make up and say, no, GED works this way. No, you can just easily go to my GED page, and then you figure things out on your own. So that's why we're trying to push this narrative that parents, please look at it as an alternative to this current confusing curriculum that has been bombarded onto our youth, and it's making them depressed. It's generates anxiety. And I mean, these are our future leaders, if I can put it that way. These are going to be parents one day, where they would have to teach their kids. But now, if they are depressed and anxious, it makes for the kids to not be able to be positive about their future. So that basically is what GED is. And if I've left out anything, I think Neo would maybe mention. But yeah, that's what GED is.
Fuzile, I'm so inspired. Where were you 26 years ago when I was struggling with my matric? It's quite a long time ago, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have questions that Mandisa Mtembu is asking. I don't know if we should take questions now for you, or we have Shailen do his presentation and then we can take it later.
I think because Shailen is also going to cover some of some of the questions, yes.
Yeah.
And then we can
hopefully
open up.
They'll be answered. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your presentation, Fuzile. Don't go away. You just switch off your camera and mic, and then we can have Shailen connected. Shailen, welcome back. You still there? Awesome. All right. Shailen is going to explain to us. I think you explaining the difference on CAPS. What is CAPS?
No, sorry. The CAPS is the current curriculum system that we're busy working with right now. But I wasn't so much going to be focusing on the CAPS side of things. I was more going to talk about being career ready. Sorry, I think there was a bit of a miscommunication there. I wanted to talk about being career ready.
Just take it away. Take it away.
Okay, great.
Do
Thank
what
you.
you do best.
Okay. So for all the listeners that are basically joining in, look, education is a goal. It's a pathway. The end destination is a job. And that's what we are focusing on, being able to get a job. Now, the thing is, as we know, globalization, South Africans are not just competing with other South Africans in order to get jobs. They are competing internationally. I myself am a typesetter, and I'm competing with Indians and Chinese typesetters in order to be able to get work as a typesetter. The advantage that I have in the South African market is my familiarity with African languages. Being familiar with Afrikaans and with Zulu and Xhosa allows me to be able to get work that cannot be allocated to those freelancers who are oftentimes cheaper than I am right now. So this is these are skills that I've had to add to my repertoire in order to remain competitive with other employees in the market. So that's the nature of the modern work environment right now. You're constantly having to learn, and you're constantly having to upskill. So that's the first thing that I want to bring across. The main thing to focus. South Africans are not competing against South Africans; they're competing against the world. And with everyone moving into the online space, work from home, there's certain strengths, there's certain opportunities, and there's certain threats that have come. So a lot of jobs are moving into the online sphere, which means it's easier to migrate these jobs to other countries where they can possibly work cheaper. But this also means opportunities where foreigners can also come to us and ask us for work. So that's how we're looking at things. Now, so we're competing with these international employees, and now we're looking at, so what is happening in the international world of work? Internationally, the education sphere is changing. What employees want from what employers want from employees are skills, and they want experience. They're caring less and less about qualifications, but you need to have the skills. So you need to be able to train on them. Basically, if you look at how if you look at how they are employing people now in the United States and in Europe, they don't care what degree you have. They want to look at your portfolio of work. They want to be able to see who you've been employed with, what you've done, and what you can work with. For example, how good are you at Microsoft Excel, right? How good are you at communicating? If you write a letter to somebody, do you have good grammar structure? Are you able to communicate in a professional manner? How do you conduct yourself online in the social media space? These are the important things that they are looking for. And a lot of these skills you can do in certificate courses. You don't necessarily need a degree for it. So I'm just moving backwards now, I'm working my way towards the GED. So now we're going, essentially, employees are looking for skills, not necessarily degrees or certain qualifications. However, some companies are still using degrees as a gatekeeping mechanism. For example, you will apply for a job, and they will often interview you, and they'll have a look at your skills. Oh, yes, you can work with the software. You can handle the tasks at the place. However, the only problem is that you do not have a degree or diploma in the field that we require. So that is a problem that we still have today, which affects employability. However, it is something that is being phased out. What they are really focused on, though, even in the more modern companies that are ignoring degrees, is, what is your matric level qualification like? They want to go and they want to see your matric certificate, and what they want to see is, they want to see a 70% to 80% in English, a 70% to 80% to 90% in mathematics. And because what this tells me is you have a good comprehension of day-to-day interactions with mathematics and English. Because if someone can read and write proficiently, and if someone can do basic mathematics, you can teach them the specifics of their jobs. You don't need, for most employees, unless you're a statistician, you don't need calculus, as my friend Fuzile was bringing up earlier. That's not something that's relevant currently. And for instance, we don't use it in the business field. When I was doing my bachelor's in business, we used statistics, and we used we used algebra, we used statistics, and those we used that from first year all the way to third year. But we didn't touch trigonometry, we did not go into geometry, we did not go into calculus, because those areas of mathematics do not apply to the business field in our specialization. And so what's happening is globally, what's happening globally is employers as well as universities have basically looked at, what do our students actually use? What do our students actually need? And they are saying whatever is irrelevant, we will not ask from them. And that is how the GED is structured. The GED is structured to provide you with the tools that you need to be able to enter university and to be able to enter the workplace. So the GED, that's giving you a complete comprehensive education for you to be employable and teachable. That is what the GED prepares you for. Because once you qualify for a degree, a lot of universities nowadays, the truth of the matter is that the education system that we currently have, all of the curriculums, before the CAPS curriculum that you brought up, we had the NCVS curriculum, and before that we had OBE, outcomes-based education. OBE failed, NCV failed, now we're working with the CAPS system, but the problem is it works on an archaic principle, archaic style of teaching, where it's all general education and it's not relevant for what people need for their degrees. For example, we have a lot of people nowadays, they're talking about, just say somebody who has who is interested in the business field, he does not need to learn anything with regards to physics or biology, because the physics and biology subjects are not going to come up in any of the workplaces that he's going to apply for, and it's not going to come up in any degree he eventually ends up studying for, right? And that is how we are, and that is what the GED is focusing on. Basically, you go for your GED, you pick yourself a math subject, and you learn math sufficient to be able to enter university and be able to learn from your professors. You are able to pick your language subjects so that you are able to communicate effectively and once again understand the material. And as Fazile showed in the one piece of literature, reading comprehension, because study after study after study has shown that tens of thousands of matriculants who are graduating or exiting our education system are not literate. They do not have basic literacy. So what ends up happening is they enter the university and they need to study a textbook. And, well, they pick up their textbook and they're looking at the words on the page and they're not understanding. If you cannot read a textbook and understand what's in the textbook, you can't learn from the textbook. And that is why we have such high failure rates in the universities. Now, the benefit of the GED is that instead of having 6 or 7 subjects that the child has to spread his attention with, he can rather focus his attention on 4 core subjects. And essentially, if you get, as Fazile said, if you get a 60% in all 4 of those subjects, which is how you pass your GED, you can go and apply for a diploma because you have 20 points. If you get 80% for all 4 subjects, you have 28 points. 28 points will allow you to apply for any degree as long as you got the relevant subject. So say, for example, you want to, say, for example, you are interested in biology, you want to become a doctor. So you would pick English, you would pick mathematics, obviously, and you will pick biology, and you will pick chemistry. Those 4 subjects, you get 80% in the 4 of them. Congratulations, you qualify for a biology degree. You can now apply for a university. And what we're doing is we're just basically enabling people to have the basic skills that they need to be able to work in any environment and then to be able to qualify. We're not wasting people's time learning subjects that are irrelevant, that they're not interested in, or that they struggle with. So that's just a basic introduction. If you want me to, is there anything else you'd like me to bring up?
I think you've made it simple by explaining the benefits, because there's no use knowing the acronyms and then you don't know how they affect your life. You mentioned something there that you can only go for 4 courses. So you and Fuzile mentioned that you can go for 4 courses and you'll be sufficiently qualified to apply for a degree. I could not understand why I had to have all these subjects, 7 subjects that I had to learn at the time. At one point, I was doing physics and I was also doing agriculture. And I was like, how? Physics, agriculture, how do they meet? And how are they going to help me? Look, today, I'm not even using agriculture. Maybe when I'm growing a patch behind the house there. But it really makes sense. And I'm happy that we are talking about this so that we have an understanding. So maybe we can also take questions from our attendees. We want to ask Mandisa, can I ask you on stage? You can ask your questions. You can grab a mic there. You can either ask the questions or we can read what you've typed in. It'll be nice to see you. So maybe grab the mic on the side there and you'll be added to stage. Okay. I'll just give you the mic there.
Can you hear me?
Welcome, Mandisa.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
I wasn't expecting to be on video.
It's good. We want to see who we're talking to.
That's fine. Hi. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the presentation, Fuzile. And Shellen. There we go. This is really interesting and quite useful for what I need. I think I spoke a bit with Fuzili about what, or my sister spoke about what we need. And it sounds like it's exactly what we're looking for. I had two questions. One is, does it matter what grade the learner currently has completed? So, for example, the person that I'm attending on behalf of has a grade 9, not the strongest grades of completion, but he has a grade 9. So does that matter, right? Does he need to have a good grade 9 to then qualify for the GED, or a grade 10? So that's my first question. Does it matter what grade the learner is at? He's past 17, so I think he qualifies age-wise. And the other thing I wanted to ask is just accreditation. What are the bodies that have accredited the GED? Just because I imagine, like, when you're trying to apply for a job, and people are like, where did you get this from? It's not Umalusi, or it's not Cambridge, right? So who/what is that body? So just those two questions, but I'm really excited about this. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mandisa. Who's gonna take it? Shaylan or Fuzili? You need to unmute yourself, Fuzili. What did you do to your sound, Fuzili? See, your son needs GED. Okay, while Fuzili is trying to sort his audio out, Shaylin, would you like to take these questions?
Okay. So I work in partnership with Fuzile, so I'm in an advisory capacity. But what I can say is the only gate barring access to the GED is the age requirement of being over the age of 17. There isn't a education barrier. So if your child is over the age of 17, they will be able to apply for the GED, because another aspect of the GED is the GED is designed for individuals whose circumstances have forced them to be unable to complete high school. Right? So essentially, to be able to do the GED, if your son has the computer skills to be able to use a computer, as well as English skills sufficient to be able to read the course material, he will be able to do the GED course. And that is why people like, Zile, are you able to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. You're back. Can I just finish my point before you start, Fazile?
Go for it.
Okay, thanks. So, as I was saying, the only barrier to entry is being the age of 17. You do need to have computer skills and English skills sufficient to be able to navigate the website and use the materials. So, if you're able to do that, log into the website, go through some of the samples. Then you can be able to assess whether you'd like to do the undertaking. However, that is where companies like Fuzile, people like Fuzile, come in, because what Fuzile will be doing is he will be assisting your son or daughter in overcoming those barriers. So wherever there are issues in terms of comprehension, where they do not understand the course material, that is where Fuzile comes in and acts as a facilitator, as an educator to help him understand the course material and be able to problem solve his way through the course material. As for accreditation, if I'm not mistaken, the South African Qualification Association, after you've completed your GED, Once you have your certificate, you will send it off to SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority, and they will stamp it, and that SAQA accreditation is recognized by all businesses as well as learning institutions in South Africa. But if I missed anything, Fuzile, maybe you can just round it out for me.
Yeah, so Shailen, you basically covered it very well. GED, as I said, it's an international matric. So I'm not sure if you ever paid attention to when like the schools, the end of year, and then they are awarding students who performed well. You hear of a child that got 4 or 5 distinctions and. But when you track back, you see that the child was homeschooled. They've never set foot in classroom. So homeschooled kids are actually what this GED program has been focused mostly or mainly to. And it is validated by SAQA, as my colleague Shailen has just mentioned. So, but to validate it, it's a different charge altogether. I think you pay around 2,020 Rand at the end of the year. So as I said, it's a costly exercise if you look at it in terms of money wise. So that's how they've kept it, away from us, if I can put it that way. Because when I was doing just a cost analysis, I realized that overall, to just plug in and get the GED, and also to be able to write the exam. So it's 2,900 Rand to get access to the GED. And then to write an exam per subject, you pay $80, which I had said was around 1.3, 1.4, somewhere there, according to Rand dollar conversion, because it always fluctuates. So I'm not sure what it sits at the current moment, but $80 per subject. So if you take 4 subjects, you multiply that $80, it sort of comes up to almost 8,000, 9,000 for the whole program. And then after you've done the program, you've passed, then you still have to take your diploma to SAQA so that they can validate it. And then upon validation, it then becomes a local acknowledged matric diploma. So it becomes an equivalence to matric, which we with Kensani, the learner that I said we helped. She didn't have to get it validated, because some institutions, you can study further for a degree, or as Shailen had mentioned, a diploma. They accept the GED without having to validate it. I know Boston College is one of them, because you take the exam at a Boston college near you. So you don't write it by us. We don't create the content. We don't do anything. Ours is just to facilitate and provide support. And so the learner at the end of the term, or upon completion of the program, then we then register per subject for the learner. So it will be up to the learner whether they want to have all 4 subjects in one sitting. And as we have seen, one like English will take 150 minutes. So it becomes a bit of a schlep to just do all 4 in one sitting. So we sort of divided maybe by a week. So say one today, 2 days later, they take another one, another 2 days later, and then they complete the 4. Or you can take one now. Next month, you take another one. The other month, you take another one. That's the flexibility it provides. And what I really love, and I will emphasize this, guys, what I really love about GED is the simplicity of the program. Mandisa, I'm sure you're familiar with Simtandile, my brother-in-law. He was studying in Vryheid, in Bekuzulu or something like that. So he was studying, and he wasn't doing well. He kept failing. And I kept telling them that it's not the child that's failing, it's the system that's failing the child, because he just can't understand, and there's no resources. And when you speak to him, when you have a conversation, he's very intelligent. But when it comes to him academically, it seems like he's challenged. So I challenged him. I said, "Come, join this program as well," and he joined. And I tell you, not a word of a lie, he was actually teaching me maths now. He was telling me how maths is done, because I wasn't familiar with the program. They were doing it. So I was just providing support. So sometimes they would ask me, like, so sir, what is it? Because it's the SI units they use is in inches instead of kilometers and kilograms and so forth. So they don't use our local. So now they're like, what is 45 inches? So quickly Google, and then you times it by 15, and then that number times by. And then he already did it, the math in his head. So as soon as I tell him, you times the number by 15, so the answer is 48.2. And to be able to get to 48.2, that takes a level kind of genius. That means you are able to break the numbers to decimals, to the 0 point. It's something I struggle with. When I round it off, I'll just be like, probably the number will be 45 or 49. I won't be 45 point. But then he did that, and he thrived. So it's validated by our local matric, and I mean the local authorities, SAQA, who are a leg of Umelus. So if you research more on what body forms SAQA,
Okay,
it's actually the ones.
Can I jump in there, Fuzile? Can I jump in there? So Mandisa, are you covered? Are your questions covered? Awesome. We also have. Thank you. We also have Onkopotse there. She's got experience to share with us. Onkopotse, I know you typed it, but can you say it out loud?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Oh yeah. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it doesn't turn on. Like, I do have a friend who's 19 years old, right? And he does this GED from home, but I'm not like fully like experienced, or he never told me like in full detail how it really works. But answering Mandisa's question earlier on, I was just saying you don't need like a certain grade. You just need to be above your age group, like you're 18 or 17, like you said, to join the GED. So it's not about how many grades you've failed or passed to join the GED.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
I
that.
see we have more professionals in that's connected here. Just to let you know, Kopotse is my neighbor, so thanks, Kopotse,
Nice
for
to
that.
miss. Thanks, Okuput.
All right. And we have a comment on YouTube, Tabani Chava. He says, thanks for the presentation, guys. I just had to relay that to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
can I, as a parting shot? Oh, sorry.
Yes,
You can
Figile?
proceed. I'll come back. I'll
Okay.
ask
All right.
after you.
All right. Thanks, Kopotse. You can stay online as well. I'll just move you from the stage.
Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention, because as I said, that we provide support. So seeing that it's a new program that we to pioneer and spearhead towards kids migrating from, current education curriculum to doing GED. One, if the child is doing grade 9, grade 10, 12, if they're currently doing grade 12, they can leave the grade 12 and jump into the GED bandwagon as long as they're 17 or they are turning 17 years in the year that they are taking the GED. And two, you don't have to wait until, the whole year until you finish the program. Some kids are very quick. They catch on very quickly. So the program gauges or keeps track of your learning, and there's a bar that you are pushing. So if that bar you've pushed and it starts from red, then it becomes amber, and then it becomes green. When it reaches green, it means that you are ripe. You are good to take the exam. So some have pushed it in 6 months, and they go and they take their exam. But there's also practice exams. So the practice exam, it sort of it shows you what the sitting would be like. So it gives you the classroom setup, but within your room. You don't have to go to Boston College. So everything is covered for you so that you are well equipped and prepared to write the exam. And then, so we provide support in a way of, we monitor the kids' movement. We inform the parents of the roadblocks we see when they're studying. So say, for instance, some not easily understand maths. So then we are able to then provide support in maths and tutor them, try and do this as an extra lesson to help you. And then the kid then eventually understands the whole GED program. And within that year, we provide the support. So we've got a charge structure that we put in place, where we've got parents that are, and teachers, qualified teachers that are willing to sit down with the learner and try and help them to familiarize themselves with the program and also provide support.
Okay, we're running out of time. We're just going to be dashing through the questions then. Now, the question that I have for the both of you, what are you doing to help those children that are struggling at school level? Are you venturing out to them to say, here is a program that you can enroll on? What is your strategy? Because we are privileged now that we having this discussion, but we do have a lot more people that are not even aware of GED. I mean, they might not even know something like this exists. So how do you create awareness where already they are struggling and then they need somebody to help them out?
So one thing that I just want to bring out, it's something that really irks me. And it's a pattern of behavior that I've seen repeated across a lot of schools. Because I do tutor students, primarily in Matric. They come to me, they need help with mathematics or English. And one thing that I find to be, how I'm engaging with South African students right now, primarily through my tutoring service, where, and one thing I keep finding is that teachers and principals are gaslighting their students into taking subjects that are not beneficial to them. Mm-hmm. The most prominent example is students in grade 11 who are doing pure mathematics are being coerced into taking mathematics literacy. This subject does not ready them for university. If you pass Matric with Maths Lit instead of pure Maths, you cannot, there are a lot of degrees that you cannot qualify for. You won't be able to get a BCom, you won't be able to get a BSci. And the reason why high schools are doing this is because if you pass Maths Lit, it's counted as a pass, it makes the school look good. If you fail pure maths, it makes the school look bad, and then those schools are held accountable. But once you pass Maths Lit, they don't care if you can get if you can go to university or not. And truth be told, a lot of employers, when they look at someone with if you have a 90% in maths literacy, they don't care because they don't consider it a serious subject. So it hurts your employment prospects when you pass in your CV. You think, I've passed my Matric, why is no one employing me? It's because they don't like your subject. And the truth of the matter is that 3-4 years down the line, once you learn about that, you're going to be signing up for a GED. So if you're in an institution where the teachers are forcing you to try and change subjects to useless subjects, rather go and do a GED. rather go and speak to companies like Fuzile's who are offering this course, because their interest is in making sure that you're employable, because when you complete your GED and you are happy with your results because of that, you will then go and refer it to somebody else, and you as the student, will refer to other people and inform them about this, and which is beneficial to Fuzile and them. Basically, Fuzile, back to the question. So how I'm busy spreading this to people is by speaking to people who approach me for tutoring and informing them of these prospects, especially in my church. A lot of parents of students in my church, they come to me, they're asking for assistance, they're telling me that their children are switching subjects. So I'm starting to introduce them to the GED course as a suitable alternative. And as Fuzile said, one of the lovely things about it is you can work at your own pace. So if your child thrives in an academic environment, they don't have to waste an entire year studying for their matric. They can complete it within half a year if they have the talent. And if your child is a bit slower, perhaps he struggles a bit, you have people like Fuzile and them who are happy to help motivate them and keep them on track. And then they can basically do those 4 subjects over the course of a year or even a year and a half, because you only pay when you take the tests. So that's how it benefits the stronger students and the weaker students.
That's
and then
good.
And then lastly, just tying it to South Africa once again, the reality of a lot of South Africans. Look, because you can do one subject at a time, and when you're free, the nice thing is you can basically go and work, because we know the reality of a lot of South Africans. There are some people who are dropping out in grade 10 and 11 because they need to get a job to support their families. You can do that. You can basically get yourself a job if that's what your family needs you to do. But at the same time, you can put aside a little bit of money to pay for a GED and still be qualified at the end of the day.
Beautiful. No, that's a beautiful program. I'm really excited about it. I just, maybe my age doesn't allow anymore.
No, anyone can take it now. I'm also thinking of taking it on. Maybe it's something we should talk. We can motivate each other
We'll
to
talk
just go
after
for
the
it.
show. Figile, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to ask, although Shailene actually went through a little bit of my questions to answer, because, coming to the reality of the education system in South Africa, and I hear GED is for not really the wealthy, but the people who can afford to pay for it. And mostly it's people who are from the disadvantaged backgrounds, like in the rural areas. And you find that they are happy with getting their 33.3% as a pass. Now you're saying to them they have to come to attend GED, and they have to get, my calculation said if they have to get 145 over 200, it's about 73%. So what are the challenges these kids will encounter going into when they want to build their careers by going to varsity? Because you know that if you got a 33.3% as a pass or less, you won't make it to varsity. But when you get your minimum pass with the GED, what are their challenges that they face when they get to varsity? Is there any challenges they encounter, or they just roll when they get there?
So can I answer that? I did some research on that as well.
I'll give you 5 minutes to. I'll give you
for it.
2 minutes. 2 minutes to answer.
All right, 2 minutes. So in the simplest terms, as speaking, the program is designed in a way, as Shaylin put it, is designed in a way to actually help plug or prepare the child for university or high school or maybe work or employment. And what we also have done, we also add one more subject. So that subject can be anything from understanding Excel, because we found that most of the financial institutions, they actually use Excel. You have to have a knowledge of Excel. Exactly. So my friend Shaylin here also helped me stumble upon information that there's LinkedIn classroom where you get like Excel education, and it's accredited. It's regarded as hours spent studying, and you attach that to your GED qualification, and voila, you are ready for university. So for now, I don't see any roadblocks when it comes to bridging into university, because this is a program that's designed to help kids, especially in backgrounds where they struggle with education, like here in South Africa, to be able to equip them. So if they don't take them in local universities, there are also online universities like UO People, Coursera. They also offer university qualification.
I think
so
it
there are
also
so
boosts
many.
You've answered me. You've answered me. Now I can see you can just do it online. You can continue it online qualification.
If you don't have to wait for anyone, you can actually do it. You can just go for it online.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you guys for that.
show.
The last question that we take in from Mandisa, she says, please also tell us how to get set up. How do you get set up for GED?
Shaylin,
Shaylin?
Okay. So how you can basically get set up, what you need is a computer and internet. And then all you need to do is, so the beauty of this is, as long as you have a computer with a decent internet connection, you will then just get in contact with Fuzile in 4IR. And what Fuzile will do is he will help get your child registered into the program, and then he will help the child pick the course material that he needs, and make sure that the subjects that he chooses are subjects that are relevant to the career path that he wants to follow. So, internet, computer, and Fuzile. That's all. That's what you need to get set up.
Thank you so much, Mr.
That's why I'm
Shaylin. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all this information. It was really helpful, and I believe the parents are now knowledgeable on what to do for their children in the future. And I wish I also knew all this information in my time, so that I'm able to.
Same here, bro. You know? I always wish that there was a Fuzile out there who was doing the heavy lifting and just. But we can change. We can change other people's circumstances. We can influence the change.
All right. Nkgopotseng, you saying one question, if it's possible. One question is it possible to be doing online schooling plus the GED program?
Online schooling as in...
What do you mean online schooling, Nkgopotseng? Okay, let me invite you quickly on stage. Just grab the mic there. And then after then we can wrap up. Okay, let's see if he's able to join there.
While we're waiting for him to join, can I just add something for parents?
Please.
Okay, so say for example, So with regards to picking which GED subject you want to do, all you basically do is look for what degree your child wants to do and what bursary program you would like to apply for. For example, say he wants to be an accountant, study BCom accounting at UWC. If you look for requirements, they will say you need pure maths as well as accounting as your subjects, and they will tell you you need a minimum of 25 points. So that means that when you're doing your GED, you will pick mathematics, you will pick accounting, you will pick a language, and you'll pick one fourth subject, maybe business management. And then you will look at the points scoring system, and it will tell you you need to get 70% in all four subjects in order to be able to qualify for the bursary and the program. So that's just with regards to an earlier question.
Yeah. I don't know if Onkobutse is able to join on stage. I don't know what's happening. But Onkobutse, if you're listening, the question was, what online schooling are you referring to that you want to pair it with GD? You can type it there and we'll give you 2 minutes. UCT High. He says UCT High.
Oh, okay. So like you're doing UNISA, and yes, it can run concurrent. That's actually something that we wanted to touch on. That with the Linda or LinkedIn classroom, you can study your accounting for your accounting using Excel and whatnot, but you are also getting your GED. So when you're done, you can just join the two. Then when you join them, it makes for a good portfolio for yourself also, because you are more employable, because they're gonna ask you, are you familiar with Microsoft Excel, or do you have a qualification in that? And you produce it. Yes, I have been doing this and also that. So it can run concurrent. The only thing is that I cannot verify is that if you already have a matric qualification, will you be able to do a GED? I don't think you can, because the system already recognizes you as someone who's done Umelus. So with that, you can't.
I wanted to add on the UCT program as well.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Fuzile is done, but I wanted to add on the UCT program, because I think it's almost a similar program. Not really a similar program. It's a program designed to assist kids from disadvantaged backgrounds who's got like the brains but no resources in their areas. So probably Unkgopotse can find out from whoever is offering the program if it's not something that is the same, or if she or he can add on that one.
Okay. Right. Thank you ever so much. This information is valuable, and I'm confident that it will help parents and those that are planning to have their GEDs, knowing how to qualify for it. So if you have any more questions, as you've registered on this platform, you can also send a message to the group chat after the program. They can answer that your questions from there. So thank you ever so much for joining us. I'd like to thank you, Shaylin, for putting up time, even though you're on vacation. I'm still on vacation. You're not the only one that has joined my show, and they're on vacation. And I'm sitting here at the studio. And I will never mention names, because names are
Don't
very
mention
expensive.
names, Neo. You are a hater right now.
All right.
Thank you
Enjoy
very
your
much.
vacation.
That's a lovely,
Thank you
pleasant
very much,
experience.
Fuzile and Shaylin. This was
Yeah.
very much informative. Actually, I heard people who wanted to know onto how to go about homeschooling. You know, if they've got the
Yes.
money for it, probably I will refer them to you now. But now, one thing I wanted to find out, you said you can do it virtually. They don't
Yes.
need to attend like physical classrooms. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
perfect.
Yeah. You need a computer, you need internet, and you need Fuzile.
Stable internet connection plus.
All right.
No, that's
So,
great. Thank you very much, Neo, as well, for being our host tonight.
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, Nero.
before you disconnect,
Yeah.
let's take a selfie.
Please, I was
Oh,
about to ask you, when are you going to do the honors?
Let's take a selfie. You see, it's gonna pop on your side. Take a picture. Look into your
Look at
camera.
me.
Take a picture.
so Mandy, some Shaylin, because Shaylin has to do that.
Right.
Do it again. Do it again, Shaylin.
Do it again, Shaylin.
Does it give you an option to take a picture there? It should give you an option.
Yes, and it says retake.
Yeah. If you've taken, you can click use this one.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're happy with the picture that you took.
I can't be happy with the picture that I took.
You're going to have to open your camera.
You are still on that.
Yeah. Uncle Pese, you two, you're invited, eh? Mandisa? Okay, 4 people finished. Waiting for all the attendees. Okay, let me know when you've done.
I'm done on my end.
Okay. I see Uncle Pese, it doesn't let him. Maybe it's your camera, I don't know. Anyway,
he must take a selfie with his phone. No, he must take a selfie with his phone and then share it. I know we'll be able to manipulate it into.
Exactly. Now we'll do them. We'll do it. I will make it happen for him.
We'll Photoshop it. All right.
Yeah.
Photoshop it.
Can be sitting on top of the studio. It's still fine.
Yo.
All right. Thank you ever so much. I think you'll receive that selfie picture.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
You love it. Oh, yes. Look at it. That's nice. That's nice.
That's a very nice one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So with this, we're signing out, and we'll see you for our next show next month, or very soon, this end of this month. So, Shaylin, Fuzile, we might invite you back again.
Don't be late on the invite, eh?
Don't be late on the invites, please.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Not you, Neo. I'm saying Fuzile must not be.
Oh.
Cheers, guys. Have a good evening.
You too, ma'am. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.